Hi, I'm Priyanka. Today I'm going to review Keeping in Touch by Anjali Joseph. The novel is set in London and Assam, and the central protagonists of the book are Ved and Keteki, two individuals who are sort of looking for a human connection and try to find that in each other. But how it turns out, my opinion on the book, I have multiple things to talk about, and I have finished reading this book, so I'll tell you about those things in this video. First of all, I would like to talk about the character building in this novel, how characters have been drawn. So, the character of Ved and Keteki, to me, I felt that they couldn't really establish a connection with me as a reader as I read the novel throughout, because the characters, you really do not feel lot of sympathy or empathy for whatever they are going through. Mainly, whatever things are happening, it's happening to Keteki in the novel, and Keteki is, we come to know of her background, her childhood, how she had attachment issues with her mother. The relationship wasn't good. She was sent to a boarding school at a young age. Then she went to UK to attend university. So overall, she has lived a life away from home and family, and there is a lot of alienation in her life. And little bit, I felt bad for Kiteki at that point of time, but otherwise, throughout whatever is happening in the novel, you really don't feel much connect with the characters, and the relationship between the characters, I would say, like the entire plot of this novel was supposed to be the relationship of Ved and Keteki, but it just seemed to me that Keteki, seemed to fall in love with Keteki, and Keteki seemed to love Ved, but again running away from that love. But honestly, I really didn't understand, or maybe there isn't enough matter in the plot for me to, or any reader to understand why they fell in love, because whatever was happening all throughout, it was a series of meetings, stray sex. Maybe, of course, sex does bond people, I wouldn't say that it doesn't, but the characters, the story hasn't built up enough on the life or the connection between the two characters through conversation or through shared ideas or anything as such, which would make you feel that they love each other, or in fact the fact that they do not love each other in a strong way as well. It's just like, okay, like, am in a position where I am in a position where I need somebody, you are in a position. So it's sort of a like half attached, half detached sort of a thing, which is not the problem. I think whatever I'm talking about, the fact that it is not appealing to me, some part of it, yes, the story is there, but the way it is written, I just didn't feel that it was interesting enough to read on. Like it just didn't, the connection, the bond, the chemistry, it wasn't strong enough to hold the reader to the book, like to keep reading it. Second, I would like to talk about the how sex is portrayed and written in the book. So, as I said, this thing happens. Then Kitaki goes to Delhi, and there the scene begins with her making out with somebody, and then something happens. Okay, and there are a lot of people like that. She goes to UK, and there also something happens. So there is a lot of sex in the book that way, and these are all making out scenes. But I just felt that those making out scenes are also not written very well. It just reads so cold. I'm like, I'm the kind of person, I have read Um, yeah, I have read it in other novels, and this novel, though it appears here so many times, you just start feeling like, you know what, is sex even a thing? It just squeezes out all the passion out of it, everything, all the emotion out of it. I understand that there is cold detached sex which happens, and there have been many writers who have written very casual sex accounts, but the way it's written matters a lot. Here, the way it is written, it is not appealing to me, at least. It's just not working for me. Now, the third thing, I've talked about the characters, the sex. Assam. Assam plays a big part, big role in this novel. Okay, I was born and brought up in Assam, and the central protagonist of this book, Kitiki, is Asmis. But she comes back from London to Assam, and we see Assam through her eyes, through Ved's eyes. We can see Assam, and that Assam is very different from the Assam I grew up in, and I knew as a child because I spent my childhood there, and now I live in a city. But there is even a scene where Ved and his driver are having a conversation, and the driver tells Ved about Assam, and there is a series of things he tells him about political events, about the people in Assam, and the conflicts which keeps happening. But as he tells those, you feel like it's just like a pamphlet of information, as if he is intentionally giving out some sort of general knowledge or political knowledge about Assam. You can feel the writing is that way, that you feel like it's trying to introduce an outsider to Assam, and probably this book is not written for somebody who has grown up in Assam, but it's for somebody who doesn't know about Assam, and it's sort of a way of telling the outsider about Assam. But again, it also becomes that when books are written that way to tell an outsider about a place, you know that the gaze on the place, the lens with which we see the place itself, is of an outsider. So that is very important to know, that when you read about Assam in a book like this, you're reading about Assam first from somebody's perspective for whom Assam is a place of alienation. Like the character itself is Asmis, but she doesn't feel that she's rooted in Assam, or she doesn't feel connect with the uh, so many things in Assam. So her her description of Assam is a sort of a description of a person who has lived her life in UK or London and would come and talk, and that is the kind of description. And Ved, he is totally not from Assam, and that's why when he's also talking about it, some descriptions, there is some sort of fragments of reality are there, of course. Like for example, when they talk about Guwahati is the metropolitan city in Assam, so there is lot of things portrayed about the Guwahati city, which is true to a great extent. But again, it's a very perspective itself is a very the perspective of a very upper class, urban, elite, uh, Assamese person who has not lived in Assam in her entire life. So you need to keep that in mind when we read about Assam in this book. So that thing is there. Lastly, I feel that the plot of the novel is meandering too much between too many places, and as it goes from one place to another, there are a lot of characters which are introduced separately in the life of Ved and Kitiki. So I think the novel finally becomes too loose. The entire narrative is not tied together strongly enough to feel a feeling of completeness. So I'm not talking about it being open ended, that is different, but it just goes here and there, and the overall impact the novel could have made, it fails to make it because it meanders too much. And the center of the novel, keeping in touch, the title itself, what it tries to establish is that through this novel, Anjali Joseph tried to show the attempt or the longing for keeping in touch between two people who find themselves alienated in the world. But again, the way their relationship has been portrayed, written, the way their connection is shown, I think it has not been very successful in doing justice to the what she was trying to attempt through the novel, keeping in touch. Overall, it is a lot of things could have been better in the novel, I feel. This is all for the review for Anjali Joseph's Keeping in Touch. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.